Gotta turn on my mic first. Hope everybody's doing all right today. I'll jam out a bit. Bluesy. Volumes and stuff, all right? Yep. diabetes. Oh, thank you. See if we can find something else. 80s rock and E. What the hell's this? It's not what I clicked on. Sure, we'll do this one. Why not? There, that was what I was looking for. Back. Something dragging down my CPU. Oh, just a moment, everybody. We're going to do something here. We'll be back. Oh, we're on something different. I appreciate the follow. Oh, thank you. Is everything just going to be an E? Can I do a different key? Jesus Christ. Staying in the same key all day. I appreciate the follow and the like there, DD's guy. Appreciate you. We're just trying to get better. I do all right. I do all right. Appreciate that, Reagan. Oh, that weird ass thumb motion I do, and it came naturally. Yeah, I kind of sometimes use my wrist, but it's mostly the thumb and the index finger. Been playing since I was about 18. Took a little break in my 20s. So let me think. Almost 20 years. I'm older than I look. But yeah. For me, it helps me keep the guitar pick tighter instead of being out here all over the place like that, which is the correct way to do it. I like being nice and tight. Plus, that also helps me with muting the other strings because I can keep my hand close, so I can kind of move my palm around a little bit, just roll my wrist to do the muting instead of having to do it all up here. So I let my fingers fly a little more freely. And I also kind of, I don't know if you can see the one shiny spot on the guitar through the matte paint, but that's where I anchor my fingers down too. So it kind of helps me guide my hand where the strings are. Now, the only thing it does give me a disadvantage on is sweep picking. Got this guitar to steal. This is actually one of the Schecter Evil Twins. They usually go for like 1,500. I got it for 8. So I'm definitely happy with it. Got lucky and got it on a Black Friday sale. I think this is one of the 2020 models. The ones before, they switched they had the same pickups in it, but they switched the controls on it to where it's a 5-way switch. That'll make it where you have a single coil and an active non-active, but this is just active non-active and just 3-way switch. Which fine with me. I'm cool with that. I don't really like the single coil sound. I mean, it's cool. It does cool, but I'd rather have active non-active. I usually leave it all on active though. I've been playing with EMGs most of my life, so I kind of like that sound a little bit better. Plus, I got my EQs all set up to where it doesn't really sound like that. Yeah, I really love the was it the James Hetfield EMGs where they have like a single coil punch to them with the active on top of it. Or not single coil, but non-active punch. But yeah, but these kick ass because the fact you can switch between active and non-active. So you go non-active and you kind of it's a lot easier to hear it in a clean setting. Let me switch that up real quick. Nope, that's TikTok, not my guitar. Give me the guitar. Now, which one's my clean? 1, 2. That's kind of clean. Oh yeah, stop while active. That's fine. So let's see here. This is the bridge pickup, or I mean the neck pickup. Normal active. Then switch it to non-active. I can do it also in the back end too. This is active. Switch it over to non-active. It's subtle. It's subtle. The one I had before this one actually had a Sustainiac pickup on it, and it had 2 toggle switches where you could switch it to infinite sustain, where basically you ring out a note, and the bridge would actually vibrate and keep the note. It's like a slight vibration, something like that. but it would keep the note ringing. It'd just be like an infinite ring. And then it had another one where you'd flip it and it'd be a feedback system where it sounded like, you're just getting way too close to the amp, which is pretty cool, but, I was worried about blowing out speakers and stuff with it. And then I had the issue of the truss rod. Like, what I really like about this one, it has a spoke wheel truss rod, so it's easy to make adjustments and stuff on it, and you don't really wear the thing out, like where the truss rod adjustments that are up here. If you use let me grab one of these little Allen wrenches to do the adjustments. So, doing it here is way easier than doing it up here. Because if you strip that, you fucked up your whole guitar. Like, you're going to have the neck removed, new truss rod put in, and it costs more than the guitar's worth most of the time. So I was like, yeah, screw that. I sold that guitar. And plus, I'm not a big fan of the Floyd Rose. Yeah, it makes life way easier. I definitely love the spoke wheel. I highly recommend it. Guitar tone assist. Yeah, I mean, I think it's more of a convenience thing for a lot of guitar companies, because I can see how, doing this little cutout and stuff would be kind of a pain in the ass. I think it's mainly the neck through guitars. It's a lot easier to do it with. If you have a bolt-on neck, it's a lot harder because you need the extra space to put the spoke wheel in. So, yeah, I definitely would rather guitar companies all switch to it, but I mean, I kind of get why they don't. Like, most guitars don't do the neck through. They like to use the bolt-on necks. But I prefer neck through. It's a lot easier to access those higher frets without, hitting a bunch of screws and a big metal plate in the back. Yeah, spoke wheel is the way to go. Guitar companies, if anybody out there happens to be watching this, if you know anybody, tell them all switch to the spoke wheel truss rod. We're sick of this. Sick of stripping our truss rods out and having to spend $4,000 to repair damn guitars. It's ridiculous. It's not that expensive. It's more like about closer to $1,000 to put a new truss rod in. So you got to buy a truss rod, remove the fretboard, put the fretboard back on. It's a pain in the ass. Not worth it. Better off just getting, unless you got like a $5,000 guitar, you're just better off buying a new guitar. Let's see what else we got here. A little Dirty Chicago in A. We can do that. Switch up the guitar tone. Try this bad boy out on it. Turn off that. I've been thinking about doing lessons and guitar videos, but It's more the time that it takes to do them. I just enjoy playing more than anything. I consider myself an intermediate guitar player. But yeah, I've considered doing instructional videos, like giving out lessons and stuff like that, or setting up like a lesson plan thing. But where I'm self-taught, it's kind of difficult for me to figure out a lesson plan. So I got to like go back to what I started with and how I got to where I'm at now. So I'm kind of like I'm working on it, but we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I consider myself an intermediate guitar player. I don't even like they're guitar players way beyond my skills. I'm a decent intermediate guitar player myself. The main difference between me and most like the other people like on the intermediate level, no, I'm not in any band. But the main difference between me and a lot of the intermediate guitar players is I know my scales. I know my major and minor scales, and I know my keys. So basically, like if you want your chords and stuff to sound right together, you got to play in the right key, or else everything sounds like it's not quite right. So say it doesn't matter what style of music it is, where I'm switching between blues, soul, metal, switch to metalcore, C minor. So you're gonna want to hang out in C minor. But you see how like the notes sound like they kind of belong, even though I may not be hitting the exact like the chords that they're playing is C minor, E flat, A flat, B flat, A flat, G. Like you're kind of wanting to try to target those notes, but as long as you're playing within the key, even if you're not hitting those notes, you're hitting the adjacent notes within the chord. It'll sound like it belongs. Now, if I was like breaking down and actually writing a solo, I would be targeting the notes a lot harder because then I've got time to sit and mess with it rather than just like listening and kind of trying to feel out the melody and playing along with it. Like if you're writing out stuff, it's a completely different thing. That's like you'll hear a lot of guitar players like when they're doing improv and stuff. They most of the time they've written out like a good portion of it before they start going. They don't just like hit play and just start playing. Like for me, I'm hitting play and just starting playing for the most part. Now, a couple of these, like a bunch of these songs, I've been doing this for a while, so I'll recognize a few, but I have played over that before, so I'll kind of like have an idea of where of some things that'll work within it. But about 90% of what I do is off the top of the head based off of riffs and stuff that I've learned or I've figured out playing on my own and stuff or doing this. It's a lot of fun to goof around with. I like a lot of guitar teachers stress metronome. I'm not against metronome. For me, it doesn't like, I don't like just hearing tip, tap, tip, tap, tip, tap. I want to hear drums. Like that helps me a lot more, like with figuring out stuff that I can do. Like I'll be focusing on the bass drum, or I'll focus on the snare, or I'll focus on the hi hats, or I'll focus on like a combination of them. I'll hear like a certain rhythm in there that I really like, and I'll kind of play along with it on the guitar. But yeah, I just like doing improv playing. It's fun. It all helps me become better at what I'm doing. But no, I'm not currently in any bands or anything. I just do this. This is what I pretty much do. I just hang out in my room and play. I never really liked I never really liked playing with bands and stuff because usually people have way too much ego in it and stuff. It's hard to get along with like, four different or three or four different people that have different completely clashing personalities and ideas and stuff on what should be. I'm too laid back. I just like playing. I'm like, I'll figure something out to go over it. Don't worry, guys, do your thing. Y'all write it, I'll kind of improv and figure out something. I'm just like, and the big thing for me is like, if my part sucks and you tell me it sucks, I'm not going to get mad at you. I'll be like, okay, well, what do you think I can do to improve it? Do you think I should do it in this, in, you know, switch up the mode that I'm in? Do you think if I did it on a lower end instead of higher end, it would sound better? I'm completely open to criticism where a lot of people, like you say, hey, man, that part doesn't really fit there. They get, butthurt about it, quit the band. It's like, seriously, guys, it's going to be all right. But yes, too much ego, too much arguing and fighting. I've never been a fan of it. I've tried to be in a couple bands before where they just like everybody wants to stick to one style of music only. I like playing a variety of things. Like I don't want to just be a death metal band or just be rock and roll. I kind of want to like, why can't we blend styles together and try to figure something new out? Why do we have to, box ourselves into something just because that hasn't really, that's only worked for people back in the day. It doesn't work anymore. If you can stay in a style, but if you add variety into it, like a band that I like a lot is Trivium. Yes, they're hardcore metal, but they blend a lot of different styles of metal and just music in general into their stuff, so it sounds really good. I've been in like a couple local bands and stuff like that. Yeah, and like I said, just too much ego and stuff got into it, and I just wasn't like I had a problem where like one guitar player that we had just wasn't really that good at guitars. He just would not practice. The guy just thought, shredding is just, you know, dude's like, instead of targeting strings, he's playing it like not muting anything. Like when he's trying to do leads and stuff, that just didn't sound really good. And I'm like, anytime he tried to be like, hey man, that your stuff's just it's not cutting it. It's just like something's not right about it. It's like, and I would try to like break down what I'm doing to him, and he'd play completely differently or just completely wrong, and I'd be like, I mean, close enough, I guess, but it's not exactly what I'm trying to do. Like we had three guitar players was another problem. Me and the other guitar player got along really well, and we were able to mesh off each other really well. And the third guy kind of so we convinced that guy to go over to bass, but instead of staying on rhythm and stuff, he would just play whatever. We couldn't hold down a drummer for anything because the dude that switched to bass brought us a drummer that had a bad back and couldn't play very much. So we were like, that guy's not going to work out. We kind of need somebody that, if we're going to do this, we need somebody to be able to be in studio with us, not here once a month because his back hurts. Yeah, yeah, that's the thing. It's like they started out with a certain style, but they add death metal into their stuff. They add what is it? They add like thrash. They mix and match a bunch of stuff together to make a unique sound. like Trivium, you can't really classify them as metalcore anymore. They're kind of their own thing. There's Trivium, then their metalcore is kind of its own separate deal now. But yeah, I dig a lot of the stuff they do. They're really creative. Even when stuff ain't going their way, where there was a Matt Heafy blew out his vocals, he completely changed his singing style to be able to get his growls and stuff back. But you know, they're willing to evolve over time to make it work. Where you got a lot of the bands that don't really pan out, they either get fixated on a certain style to where all their songs start sounding the same, or you know, too much ego and stuff get in the way and they lose members and stuff. You know, the old story of everybody quitting and then they go on their separate ways. But what I really love about YouTube and the internet age is I don't have to deal with that anymore. If I want a band, if I you know if I feel like I want to play heavy metal today, I can just pop on a heavy metal song. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and Avenged Sevenfold, they like their Matt kind of got it together too, like where his voice kind of switched to more of a unique, different style of voice. But I was really surprised Matt was able to get like from Trivium Heath, he was able to get like all his vocals back. Like he can sing like he used to. He can sing his newer stuff. Like he took it. Like I don't know how the hell he trained his voice up that well to where he could do everything like he used to, plus his new stuff. But like I feel like the dude from Avenged Sevenfold's like kind of, I think he did a lot more damage to his throat than like to his vocal cords than Efi did. Yeah, like like I said, I think he just did more damage to the vocal cords themselves, where he just physically can't do it anymore. Whereas Matt was able to retrain and you know get them right again to where they're able to work. What's really cool about EP is he streams on Twitch all the time too. I like watching. Like I think that helped him out a lot too. The fact that he was practicing a lot more and doing a lot more instead of just you know studio time, practicing at home, studio time, tour. That was like the only time he was playing. Now he's playing like every single day. A couple hours before shows, he's on Twitch doing a live stream, practicing all his set. Like you can definitely tell his guitar playing has improved massively too. Well, I thought it's really weird. It's like he's got like a broken middle finger. It looks like where it's like kind of off to the side, and I think that helps him reach a lot of stuff that like you can't normally do. Like Paul Gilbert with his freaky alien hand, motherfucker can do a fucking 1 to 9 stretch, no problem. Ain't no way. Who does arpeggios without sweeping? Like that's fair. That's fair. You can just completely string skip and jump like 12 frets to do an arpeggio. That's fair to the rest of us. Switch it back up to something here. Let me find something to jam on. If YouTube will cooperate. A little country rock. Why not? Let's see what we do with this. I try to go live here regularly, but when I'm doing all this shreddy stuff, like tears my fingertips up. So I try to go live as often as possible, but it's usually every day or every other day, depending on how my hands are feeling. Like, cause like I've got good calluses, but you know you're doing playing as fast as I do and all the stuff that I'm doing. A lot of pull offs, a lot of hammer ons, a lot of hard bends. You'll tear your fingertips up really fast doing that stuff. I'm not trying to end up with Steve Vai fingers. I would like to play like him, but I'm not willing to make that sacrifice. I don't want my yeah this part of my fingers to be purple and torn up and having to put super glue in my cuts. Like, no, I'm not doing all that, buddy. Well, I'm cool where I'm at. But yeah, I try to go live as often as possible. Let's see here. What else we got? All right, man. Appreciate you coming through and chatting with me too, man. You have a great day. Whiskey Roadhouse. Let's see what this sounds like. ahead and call that a day. It's getting a little sore. Don't want to tear them up too bad, so I can go live again tomorrow. Ugh, TikTok, thank y'all for coming through and hanging out. The likes, follows, all that good stuff. Y'all kick ass like always. We'll see you guys next time. Have a great day. Everybody else, Kick, Twitch, YouTube, Facebook. Thank you all for coming through and hanging out. Even the bots that try to give me free promotions. Give me ad revenue. Appreciate you. But hope y'all have a great day too.